Hello, this is Victor, and in the next tutorial I'm going to explain how to paint possess of Khorne to that standard that you can see now in the screen. So this is one that I paint. I'm doing a squad of 5. This is the first that I paint. I try to do a mix of red with the flesh tones, try to integrate them all like if they are popping out from the armor. So what I will do is I will paint this guy here as the one that you have seen before. So this is the backpack, this is the head, and I will paint also the shoulder pads. So yeah, this is a tutorial how to paint a possess as for the Khorne. So how to paint a Khorne possess. So the first step that I will do, I will apply Khorne Red to the parts that are not painted. I will use this shoulder pad and this shoulder pad as well. So let's shake it well, and using quite a big brush we can apply a layer of Khorne Red. So we apply this very thin, and it's going to work also as a primer. Apply it uniformly and and all over the parts. I will not care what part goes in what color later on. I just use this as my primer, and instead of doing black I will use this Khorne Red. As you can see, this is pretty fast, straightforward. I will do the same for all the parts. This is what I leave some part of the sprue still attached to the part to be able to handle, and then once it's dry, once I want to leave it for dry, I just take one of these clamps and I leave it like that. So it's quite easy. I like to paint normally when I'm painting marines of any kind, I normally paint the backpacks separately, and I do the final touches once I assemble them. But the main work is going to be done without gluing this part to the miniature. So as you can see, this is quite straightforward. I will do the same for the other parts. I will do the other parts of camera, and also I will finalize this off camera. Just let me show what else we are going to do with this color, as I can do this off camera as well. It's going to be a very fast thing. So with a more detailed brush, I can use, you don't need to have a perfect brush. This one is a little bit damaged, that will work for the purpose. I will take the different armor plates and I will apply also this color to the armor plates, different armor plates. You can, if you touch the rim, it's not a problem. I will try to avoid to touch the rim and just apply this on the different armor plates, as you can see here now. I will do the same on the shoes. So I will apply this on the shoes or on the boots of the Space Marine. So just a thin layer of Khorne Red. So I will be doing that for all the different parts, and I will show you back once I finalize. There is not much to say here, just apply thin layer of Khorne Red on the armor plates that you want to have, that you want to be red. Okay, so I will be back once this is done. So the next step, I will use Cadian Flesh, is one of the dark flesh tones, to paint the areas where the armor is like possessed. No? I will do what I did here. First I will mark the areas where I see that there is flesh, the hands for example, so like I did in that one. So I will do the same here. So for example, I will paint this part here on the leg. There looks that there is like there is a mixture of flesh or muscles and armor. So I will paint this. Don't be worried now that the transition is very strong. The objective in that stage is to point all the parts where you see flesh and you want to paint it like flesh. So later on we are going to make the transition from the red to the flesh areas smoother, but this stage is just a flesh tone in the parts that you want to look like possessed armor. For example, here on the joints I will apply a little bit. Okay, and I will apply here on this leg too. So I will be doing that, and I will be back once I'm done with that part. So now the flesh tones are done all around the armor, but I'm going to do in some parts where the flesh tones transition to the armor. I will use what's called this Khorne Red from Vallejo, and I will mix this a little bit with the skin tone. Hope you can see it here. I will move this here. So I will make a mixture. Why I'm using this color is I want to avoid to have pinkish colors. If I mix directly the Khorne Red, it will give very pinkish color. So I want to avoid that, and this is why I'm using more brown to make this transition. So I use first the brown here, and then the mixture, and the idea is to make this transition softer. Okay. Here, for example, is not needed because there is no transition. It goes directly, is within the gaps of the armor, like this one here is within the gaps of the armor. I only need to apply a little bit of this brown here because it's a hard transition, this one. Here in the leg you wanted to make it softer, so I will apply this, especially here around, and in that side. Now I take a little bit more brown. I put a little bit more brown. Same here, I take the mixture and I go a little bit into some brown. I will keep working like that, so as I use a little bit of the mixture, this is okay, this arm is okay, here, and apply a little bit here, the mixture a little bit. The same here. The idea is we want to make this like soft transitions instead of having a hard change. So you try to do like a blending with the red of the armor. Okay. I think this here at the back we are going to do the same. But we take some flesh here. We use the brown. Again, we will take some water. More or less all the parts that I wanted to make some transition down here I will not mind because I will go with brown most likely. Take brown here, this one's here. We can use a bit of this brown here. The armor is like being, I don't know how to call it, it's like swelling. Like if it's inside, the armor can contain the mutations inside. So I'm going to put like a very dark tone of the skin. That's fast. Here I miss a little bit. So you put first the skin tone. And now I will do the transitioning. Here in the leg, this leg. Right here, and here I will do something similar. Okay. Next step that I will do once this is done is I will use crimson, so Carroburg crimson, okay, and I will wash all the flesh parts. So I will start, for example, from here, and I will apply this wash. This will make the transition even smoother and will darken the flesh color at this moment. That is what we need. So we are going to apply this in all the flesh areas, and also will pop up, of course, the texture. This is the main purpose, is to make that. This have two purposes: to make the flesh look darker, less different than the armor, and to make the texture on the flesh parts much more visible. Washes work very well on highly textured surfaces, and these flesh parts are very texturized. Most of them. Then if it's not texturized, will help this to mimic and to dissimulate the color, make it more similar to the armor. Here will be very interesting to do it well, because we are going to really pop up. Sorry, I'm going off camera. Will pop up very easily the details of this type of ribs here. So you can be quite generous applying this. Okay, you see. And it's quite easy and straightforward. Of course, once this is applied, we will need to wait until this dries completely. So in the meantime, I will check if I have any other flesh part on the other parts that are not to glue it, and do it as well. But I will follow the same process as I'm following here. So this is how it looks like. Then the hand. But you have to be careful also when you apply these washes, is that it's not accumulating too much in some areas, in some parts. So try to if it's needed, with your brush, avoid take the excess of paint if you apply too much in some of the parts of the miniature. So this is how I will do it. Okay, looking good. A little bit more here on the ribs, this type of ribs. The backbone is really here on the front, the case. So this process are quite crazy. I'm doing just an overview of the whole miniature to make sure that I'm not missing any part. Here, for example, missing this. And I'm using quite a using how it's called this glaze medium to do this. Okay, so far it's good, and as each time we apply a wash, we need to wait until this dries completely before doing the next step. So I will be back once the wash is completely dry. So this is how it's looking like once the wash is completely dry. You see the skin is much more integrated and mimetized with the armor. So next steps, we are going to try to pop up a little bit more the skin and to make it more visible. But before doing that, I need to do first the brush ghost, because I need to do another wash. We'll do a Earthshade wash, but before doing that, I want first to do all the gold parts. To do the gold parts, I will use Retributor Armour, as you see here. Okay, so this Retributor Armour, I think, is one of the best. I would say one of the best paints of Games Workshop. So we can apply directly on black, and it's covering very well and giving a very nice and shiny gold. So I will do this I will paint all the rims of the armor with Retributor gold. Have to be careful, especially in the areas where we have the flesh, not to paint on top of the flesh. So we are going to use a detail brush, using here the one that is the artificial layer, so that the extra small brush from Citadel, but you can use any equivalent that is working for you. You can see carefully I will go through the different rims. If you use another gold, it's up to you. I will be using, in that case, Retributor Armour. So you see I do all the rims, some are more difficult access. Okay. So I will do some as example, I will do part of this like as example, and then I will stop the recording and I will be back once I did all, because there is not much mystery, it's just applying a thin layer of Retributor gold on all these ornaments that are on the armor of this possess. Remember that I'm trying to do Khorne possess. I'm following the same color scheme that or similar to the ones I use for my berserkers. So this is why I'm using these colors. If you're using possess for other armies, maybe you want to use the rim in a different color. But as I say, this is painting a possess dedicated to the Khorne powers, because I want to use this unit as part of the Demon King army, and as this one of the mandatory choices to be able to deploy the new formation for the Blood God. So as you see, carefully I do all the different ornaments, different chaos ornaments. Later on we are going to make this gold much dull, but this is just applying the base color to do the later works. So I will keep doing that, and yeah, as you can see, I will keep doing that. Here there is another part, another armor rim, so I will do this as well. Right here, especially when you have flesh, be very careful not to go into the flesh part. This one here is one of these parts. When it's on red, if you do a mistake, it's much easier to solve, because we just did the base color on the red. But of course, this work you try to be precise right now, because the parts around these are done. So we'll keep working on that, and I will be back once I finalize with the rim on gold. So gold, it's applied on main of the on all the parts that is needed. I also applied on the backpack, as you can see here. Okay, put it like that. Okay, and on the shoulder pads here and here. Let me move a little bit the camera a little bit here, something like that. Okay, so this is how the next step. So applying the gold, I will keep applying the base colors, and I will apply deep brown on the bell and here on this tube. So I will apply Rhinox Hide. Just 1 minute. will apply Rhinox Hide. Here on the bell. I don't want to use a lot of bright colors. I want the skin to pop up, I want the horns to pop up, and in some of the miniatures I will add some fire, like this one. This is the objective in this unit, but I want to work with browns and reds, deep reds, bone colors. So I don't want to use, I will try to avoid to use, for example, greens. In that case, although I use it in some of my units for Khorne, but in that case I will try to avoid it and keep it everything with a very similar color scheme. We'll do this also this tube here, that is completely right, and you can paint the. We'll try to avoid to paint the parts that are open of the tube. But if you go in some of the open parts, don't worry, because they are going to be painted later on. This thing out. Okay, so you see, I'll go to the it's like tube or cable, or who knows what is this about. No. So I will try to. This is okay. And now what I will do is I will use XV88 for the horns. The head I will leave it untouched because I will do the head later on. But now I will use XV88 for all the wooden bones, and horns part. I will paint this, for example, back bone that we have here. It's just the base color, and also this thing here I will paint as bone. We'll only paint the parts that I find that are really evident bones. For example, these things here, like look at ribs, I will think about, because I'm not sure at this moment. Can go very light, but I will do from a transition. I don't want to paint them just like bone. So as you see, this one here, yes. Okay. The claw I will not paint it either at this stage. I will paint it later on, because I want to do a transition from the now I'm doing just these main parts, and all this is to prepare to do the wash with Agrax Earthshade. So I want to be sure. So I will be doing all these horns, claws, talons. Here we have like a bone structure. I will also paint these parts. I'll paint this here at the back. This talon here. Okay, and this. Okay. And for this big claw here, I will use a different color. Instead of XV88, I will start using Driad Bark. So I will use just okay. And this is quite, this part is, there isn't a clear point where when the flesh starts and where the claw starts. So just try to make your own limits. It's really like what they want to show in that miniature is a messy miniature where all the things mix together. You have claws, horns, talons, armor, flesh, all mixed and all heavily mutated by the demons. So this is why I want to play a lot with color transitions, trying to blend colors and not to put, and well, on the part that is not visible, avoid the strong color transitions. So yeah, I applied the two browns now and the gold. And also I paint here the backpack with the XV88 on these backbones. So the next thing I will do, I will use Agrax Earthshade, and I will wash all these parts. As you can see, I didn't work on the head. I want to do the head in a different process because I want to do the head like if it's skull like. So once this is drying, then I will start doing some parts of the head while we will weld this device. So we are going to apply this on all the parts and try to avoid the skinny parts or the flesh parts. Just apply where we have the red. This will make the red even deeper, darker, and yeah, this is the effect I'm looking for so far. So here we can apply. We have to be careful in the parts where we have a mixture of red and flesh. So try to avoid to go onto the flesh, but don't avoid to go onto the gold. I want to do a little bit this bright gold, so this is why I'm also applying. And on the horns, you don't need to apply it on the whole horn, just on the base of the horns or the talons. Here, if you see that you apply too much, dry a little bit the brush and suck the excess of paint with the brush. But even anyway, it's good to have a nice dark profiling, a little bit of dark profiling the gold. Here on this part, we are going to apply this Agrax Earthshade on the gold parts, and again, if it goes a little bit down, just will help to make the gold make a small darker line. Try to avoid to be too much, just something like that. Okay, and yeah, you can see here I apply on the backbone, also here, but I avoid to apply on the flesh parts. Here again, this part here, this rim. After this we will have the miniature ready to start doing the highlights and the tail, and almost half of the half a step of the body will be done after that. So here I will apply a little bit around this spike. There is a lot of spikes and horns and talons and things going on that miniatures. This shoe also have a lot of things there. We're going to pop up them later on. Can happen that you realize that you miss some of the gold parts. Don't worry, keep doing the wash, finalize the wash, and you will do these parts later on. It's better than just stopping try to solve it right now. Once you start doing the wash, it's better that you apply the wash everywhere, and if you miss something, you will do it later on. If not, the wash will look incomplete and will not look nice. So you want to make a uniform wash on the red, brown, gold parts of the miniature right now. So you see here what I will do is I will apply a little bit on the cracks. Even though I say that I don't want to go, here is the only, just make the cracks really visible. It's the detail, just showing the armor cracking in the point, because the flesh is expanding. And I will apply on the tube. I will also apply a little bit here on this, because will make even darker the recesses. Though the base color is very dark, I like to play a little bit. Okay. See, sorry, I'm going out of camera, sorry. So, yeah. So here, then this back part, this gold, you can see it's just apply nice wash, uniform wash. Here I will avoid the flesh. So yeah, and this way you want to apply this before doing any highlight. And here on this one is going to be the most tricky one maybe, because we don't know exactly where one thing starts and when the other finishes. So just apply the wash. If you go a little bit on the flesh, we're going to solve it later on. But you see I apply everywhere here, also on this, and this talon at the back of the arm. Okay. So yeah, this is all we here. I was missing one spot. This part here and this part here. Okay, and I think now all the spots are done. Just make a deep closer look. Looks okay. And I will do the same on the shoulder pads and on the backpack. And I will be back to show you at the end how it's looking like. While the rest of the parts are drying from the wash, I will work a little bit on this head, on the head. And I want to look this head like being a skull. So I will paint this head like a skull with some flesh around maybe. So what I will do first is I will paint it with Ushabti Bone. So I will take Ushabti Bone and I will paint the whole head. So, and I will just apply a very thin layer. We'll paint the horns as well, and yeah, we are going to do the effects on the horn later on. But the idea here is to paint this ready to a point that we can do. We can prepare to do then later on the looking all the details. So it's just apply the base color. Most likely I will need to do 2 layers, as you can see. Needs some help, this Ushabti Bone, to cover the red. So I will be applying this and I will be back once this head is completely painted with the bone color. So once the bone colors are completely dry, we are going to do a wash of Seraphin Sepia. This wash is not one of my favorite ones. It's much difficult to apply than the Agrax Earthshade, and I think it's like slippery more than Agrax Earthshade. But we are going to just apply first a layer of this one to make the bone look a little bit less bright. We are going to apply this generously all over the parts, and later on we are going to apply just Agrax Earthshade where we think we want to emphasize more the shades and the crevices. So right now we only apply this all over the bone, and we need to wait until this dries completely. Okay, so here you see what is going on, and yeah, and we will let it. We need to wait until this dries before doing any other step on the head. So normally washes you have to be careful that they dry completely before you're doing the next layer, and also it's very important that the base color is completely dry before applying the wash. So these are the moments that you have to be careful that the from one layer to the other you give enough time to dry. Again, if it's too much in one part, this is the point I have with. So this is how it will look like, and I will show you how it's looking like right now. The other parts that we washed before with Agrax Earthshade, they are almost dry. We will need to wait a little bit more before doing the next layer, but you see the armor is looking much darker, and this is the color I want for the armor. So this is where I want to go, and now it's ready, so this just fall down, but you see the shoulder pad, the gold is also much darker. Here we have also the backpack. You see it's still bright because it's still drying there, but it's ready for the next step that is going to be on the next part of the video. So here I want to stop this part of the video and do I prefer to split it in smaller parts to make easier the edition of the video, and to make and to make life easier when I try to upload this in YouTube. So be ready for the next part. I will keep working, and then next part is going to be the highlights on the flesh, on the armor, and the final work on the head. I hope to do it in 2 parts, the painting tutorial of the Possess with Mark of Khorne. So thanks a lot for watching this video, and see you again later. Bye.